All right, I just finished a podcast on how to get the 5 key points to this. Now I want to make one on how to do it by hand, and then I'll graph it. The last one I just got the 5 key points and quit. So one thing you need to be able to do is find some important data from your function. So first of all, if this is my function, I can factor out the 4 and get x. And again, if you need to put a 4 there to see that, it would be what? Pi over 8. All right, so then I can see that the phase shift on this is whatever causes 0 here. So my phase shift is a negative pi over 8. Now, if that whole factoring thing is hard for you, then what you can kind of do is set the original, which was what, this, to 0. And then you can just do a little algebra. So bring that over. And then divide, and again, remember dividing fractions, you multiply by the reciprocal. So you get x equals pi over 8. Okay. Did I lose? Yep, lost my negative. There we go. All right, so negative pi over 8. So that's your phase shift. So you need to be able to do that. The other thing that's important is we know domain, that's fine. All reals, that's not really going to help us at all. But the range of the normal function is this. And you can see that the amplitude is 3, so that's going to change that to that. We're just going to multiply by 3. But then there's also a vertical shift of a negative 1, so that's going to shift that also. So I know that the new range is going to be this. All right, so that's going to help me quite a bit also. All right, so the phase shift is going to tell me where I start. This is going to tell me my height, and I can find my mid, so I know my low and my mid and my high. The problem is I need to know how wide this graph is. All right, and so that is my period. All right, and so again, a standard period would be 2 pi, but we have a 4 in there, and so we would divide by that. Now, if that was a fourth, we'd divide by 1/4, which would in turn multiply by 4, but this is 4, so we're dividing by 4, so that reduces to pi over 2. All right. This is pretty much, I think, all I need. Probably the other thing that you need to know is just the basic shape of a cosine function. So a cosine function starts high, goes mid, then low, then mid, then high. So it kind of looks like a cup. All right. But the problem here is that this has a reflection. It's a negative. So you need to realize that what used to be high is now going to be low. Mid will go on itself when it reflects. Right, low will go to high, mid will go to itself, and so forth. If you think of this being like a mirror right here, then that's how that reflection goes. So I know that my graph should look something like that. Okay, so I'm going to use the information here to help me out. All right, so let's think of our graph, and I don't know where I have space to do this, so we'll figure this out. I will erase this bottom one, I guess. So we'll erase this. So we kind of know, let me draw it quick, but we know ours is going to look like that. All right, that should be good. All right. So I am just going to make my graph. All right, so here we have this, and we have that. I know it goes from a -4 to a +2. Which means my mid is what, 3? So let me try to find, I don't know if this will work. I'll try to make it thin. But this is a distance of 6. So right here, okay, that's my mid line. Okay. All right, so where do I start my graph at? Well, let's look here. I have a phase shift of a negative pi over 8. So at a negative pi over 8, that's where my graph is going to start. And I'm going to go ahead and make other tick marks here. What is my period? Pi over 2. All right, which if I get a common denominator, that's the same as 4 pi over 8. So pi over 8. So from here to here is 1 pi over 8, 2 pi over 8, 3 pi over 8, 4 pi over 8. So this is where my graph is going to end. So in this space right here, between negative pi over 8 and, let's see, what is this, pi over 2. All right, so again, pi over 8, 2 pi over 8. No, that's not right. This is 3 pi over 8. Let me double check. Pi over 8, 0, then pi over 8, 2 pi over 8, 3 pi over 8. But the distance is 1, 2, 3, 4 eighths, which reduces to a half. All right, So between negative pi over 8 and 3 pi over 8, I have to have, in this case, it's going to go low, mid, high, mid, low. I have to get all that in that space. All right, so I know where my graph starts at negative pi over 8, and it is going to start at low, and low is at a negative 4. My mid, well, let's do the middle. The middle is going to be your high, so that's this point right here, and my high is 2. Right? And then my end of my graph is back to low, so that's there. And then the middle of my middles is going to be that guy, which notice again your midline is, sorry, right there. This is my midline, so it's on my midline. And halfway between here is here, and that's on my midline. So then again, I can graph. And again, I could keep going and do that. Now, if you go back and look at the other video, we said that we should have a point at negative pi over 8 and negative 4. Notice that's where we have. We said that we would need a point at 0, negative 1. And again, notice that's what we have. And we said that at pi over 8, we would need a point at 2. Again, notice that's what we have. And then what were the other 2 points? 2 pi over 8 would be a negative 1, which if I go 1, 2, I get that. And then the third point, of course, was what? 3 pi over 8 at a negative 4. So in the other video, we calculated these and we graphed, well, I didn't graph them, but we could have gotten the points this way. In this method, you're just doing your knowledge of what transformations do to a graph and your understanding of what a cosine function normally looks like, and you go about it that way.